Hello, everybody, and welcome to Planet FPL, the world where everything revolves around Euro 2024. My name is Clayton.
And we are both buzzing from ear to ear. My name is James. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. How are
It is
we all
coming home.
today?
Let's just start there. It's happening. We have
Uh,
shithoused our way to the final. We're doing it.
Let me just say it on behalf of everybody who's not English. You fucking arrogant English.
Sat here in a Benfica top.
See that first half last night? Best team in the world, didn't we? Yeah,
Ah,
yeah, yeah.
unbelievable. Tiki taka.
Oh my God. I
How you
suppose,
feeling?
yeah, I was just going to say the same to you. Yeah, good, positive. But I don't know how you can't be after winning a semi-final football match in the manner that England won it last night with an extraordinary moment from a player the majority of people, when they saw him coming on, went, "What? Not
Yeah.
Tony?" Yeah, sometimes the manager just knows a little bit best of what he wants from his forward in certain moments. So yeah, absolutely buzzing, delighted, and every English man and woman and baby and child and etc. should absolutely be celebrating today
Yeah.
because this doesn't happen often that we reach major tournament finals, and the
Yeah.
first time we've ever done it on foreign soil. So
Yeah, I've seen that. I'm
it is
doing
a
the rounds
new
quite a lot.
achievement.
Yeah, back-to-back European finals in that as well. And obviously, it's worth saying commiserations to the Dutch,
Yes,
anyone listening. But yeah, for England fans, it's full steam ahead. Get the atomic kit and play. And yeah, previewing Sunday now.
that was plenty of atomic kit and going around last night as well. Please don't take that the wrong way. Let's do Euro Fantasy first because this is the bit everyone cares about. Actually,
Yeah.
no one does at this stage. But how many points did you end up on?
I got 44 points in the semi-final round.
Whoop.
So is that considered good?
Well,
I don't know how
I
to check the average on this,
I
but
got 36. I couldn't give a shit if it was
yeah.
3.6 at the moment, mate. But
I've flopped this tournament though. I've where am I overall? I'm 143k overall. I just got off to a really bad start, and then I feel like the later you go in the tournament, it's so much harder to kind of make up ground and stuff. So yeah, it's been fun though. Like I think that's the thing with these international tournaments. I just enjoy playing them more than like FPL. I'm very competitive. Well, I always try to win it, even though that's never going to happen. But in these, I'm just like, oh, let me have a laugh and stuff. So 44 points all out. I had a captaincy assist, which I'm counting as a return with Mbappe.
you kept
Uh,
it, yeah? I don't
yeah,
blame you
yeah.
for that at this stage, yeah.
And it's because I've just not had anything all tournaments. I was like, let me
Just
keep
wanted
that.
something.
Yeah. So yeah, that's me. And yeah, I've got four French players that I need to get rid of ahead of Sunday. How about you? How did you get on and how are you looking ahead of Sunday?
It's easier to define rather than what you want to get rid of. It's probably easier to say, how many Spain have you got?
Yeah, good point. I've got one, two, three, four Spain, and I've got one, two, three, four, five England.
So technically, you've got 9
Got nine.
going into the final, so you haven't got any major concerns there. Yeah, 5 Spain, 3 England for me. So again, no major concern from that perspective. We've all got 5 free transfers. I think players have generally been underpriced. I think we probably look at and in retrospect. So if you want to have Kane, Bellingham, and the best Spain players and all that, you can. It's probably not a financial concern here for anyone. It's just a case of what you do with your transfers. I mean, for me, the only thing I'd say is of the 5 Spain I've got, 4 are attackers. Um, I went down that route because, in all honesty, I thought France would go through actually. And under that circumstance, I would have wanted a blanket France defence going into Sunday. So it's now just a bit of debate with the 5 transfers. If I make it blanket Spanish defence, or I could just go blanket English defence, but with all the attacking Spanish, I've got to
Is that
feel
what you
like,
think you're going to do though? Pick
oh,
just
I've,
one blanket rather than divide them.
well, I might not necessarily, I might just still go right, Gay, Pickford, and then add 3 Spanish defensive. I think probably the smart play is go with a back 5
Do you know what
in
I'm
the
going
in
to
the
do?
fantasy format, not just
I'm
the
gonna
Gareth Southgate format.
I'm gonna go and filter by ball recoveries, and I'm just gonna pick whoever's got the most.
It's not a terrible strategy. I mean, like Mark Gay is a 3-pointer again last night. That's who I've ended up with the captaincy on. he could concede and you still get a 3 or 4 pointer is very conceivable. So I think the smart advice would be, yeah, probably go with 5 defenders because they're more likely to hit those ball recoveries and stuff. But I might keep Gay and Pickford and then just end up with the 4 Spanish defense purely because I need to take a Spanish player out to put Lamine Yamal in, really.
Yeah.
And that feels like I probably need to, if I'm going all in Spain, I should probably get him in. So it might be that Ruiz is my sacrifice and then end up just sort of leaving it with Bellingham, Gay, Pickford as my free England.
Yeah.
I think that's
Okay.
probably the way. Yeah, despite football coming home and all that, yes, I probably will go all in on Spain for fantasy. So, yeah, shite for me, 36 points this week. Returnees being Mbappe's assist and Danny Olmo goal on Tuesday night. That's it. I don't really care. There's the fantasy advice out the way.
The game.
Should
Okay.
we talk the Netherlands first?
Yeah, go
Because
for it.
again, it can get missed off. And I've been quite keen during these England victories to say, look, let's stop to speak about Slovakia, stop to speak about Switzerland. Let's stop to speak about the Dutch. Firstly, as you said, to our Dutch listeners and followers, and I know we've got a number, commiserations. However, the game, I don't want to say the game was what I thought it would be, but lived up to my expectations that Switzerland were better than the Netherlands. And that we would have joy. I spoke with Suj yesterday about being able to create central midfield overloads. And one of the reasons that first half was so enjoyable yesterday was because the Dutch were terrible.
Yeah.
They were bad.
What do you think that was? Do you think that was a structural tactical thing? Do you think it was
Yeah.
just players having an off day? What?
Yeah. The best thing that happened to the Netherlands, well, the best thing, harsh. Do you remember the conversation we had after the Netherlands beat Romania?
I'll be honest, I don't know.
I said to you, I think it'd be better off taking Depay out of the team.
I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, they got a lot better without him yesterday. Um, Obviously changed it up in terms of shape by bringing Veerman on. That was something we discussed yesterday as well. That I wondered if they might start like that because I just felt they were going to get mullered in central areas. And for me to think that England was going to muller a team in central areas on what we've seen so far, I think spoke volumes of what
Yeah.
I thought of the Dutch. And clearly it was much better. Once they fixed that on, put an extra body in the centre of the pitch, they were getting manipulated so bad. The 2 centre-backs, neither of them, Van Dijk or De Vrij, want to come and step out against Bellingham or Foden's when they're picking up in pockets, and I understand that. But England had more joy getting beyond the midfield line in that first half last night than they did in the previous 5 games put together, basically.
Yeah, agree.
And that's why, mate, listen, credit to England as well, but that's a big part. I'm very keen to look back and analyze, say, oh, okay, why was this so bad? I spoke a lot about Serbia going very man to man in game one, understanding the things and the differences. Slovenia, Slovakia, no, the two very different teams. Understand the difference of what you're watching. I think it's really important. We all have every entitlement to be really happy and excited this morning, but that in the first half, how the Netherlands got to halftime at 1-1 was a miracle,
Mind-boggling.
really,
Yeah.
because we're getting pulled all over the place by a team that had previously shown that people could say they were incapable, maybe. But I think other teams were just so much better set up. So it goes back to what we discussed, I think, on Monday, probably primarily on our Patreon pod, about watching the Netherlands, Turkey Saturday night and not being too concerned.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, get me midway through that second half last night, and yeah, I'm becoming concerned because the game has very much changed. And by this point, England haven't got themselves in front and have gone reverted to type of not being able to create opportunities.
And what do you think that change was? Was it as simple as the changes from the Dutch?
Yeah, we couldn't play through them anymore once they'd brought Veerman into the pitch. They wanted to go very man to man, particularly in the first half, in terms of quite an aggressive press, but they were outnumbered. Going a pressing in central zones in man to man, but you've got less players.
Yeah.
There was a lot of you care and no, there's a spare man somewhere, whether it's Foden floating, whether it's getting Saka easy one-on-one because Aki's having to step into central areas to cover the deficiencies they've got in their man-to-man structure. It was so easy to pull about. And actually, it was a very missed opportunity by England not to pretty much kill the game in the first half hour or so.
Yeah.
That said, Xavi Simmons, who, can I just say, I think he's underwhelmed this tournament.
Yeah.
But I also realized last night he's got a look of a man who's like stepped in shit all the time.
I saw a funny meme doing the rounds and I forgot who the actor was, but it was just a carbon copy of like the kind of facial expression. I know
Yeah,
exactly
he
what you
looks
mean.
in massive distress all the time.
Yeah.
He's either stepped in shit or he's smelt someone else's fart or something.
Yeah.
Good player, and it's worth saying, what a strike.
Yeah.
Do we think Pickford should have saved it?
I I think so. Yeah. Well, if you think the Turkey save was underwhelming,
Fair
let's
enough.
go with that analysis.
I'd take that. I just think he was I think he was caught massively by surprise by it.
I think I
Because
saw.
as
Did you
well,
see the
when
stat of how fast it was hit as well? It
it
was like,
was a joke speed, yeah.
yeah. So I think that's something that maybe like as a punter, we're looking at it and it's like, oh, I should have saved it. But I think never been a goalkeeper, but I can't imagine if something's hit that fast. I don't think I'd even get anywhere near it. So I don't know
No,
if the
but
speed maybe caught him by surprise.
excuse me. Yeah, like I said, I think it was really caught by surprise because it's not only the velocity that he puts in the speed, but he's like on the stretch when he goes to hit it. He's probably thinking, "Yeah, I'm gonna level that hard." And then vroom, it's flying through the air and he just went so direct like
Yeah.
an arrow, doesn't it?
For
There's an
anyone that
angle.
hasn't, oh, go.
There's an angle you see of it though, and you think, oh, that's not top bin, is it? Like when you
No,
first see it, you think, oh, is that top bin? Like, wow.
and that's what made me think, oh, maybe could have his standing position been a bit better? Could he have actually got a hand to it? But for anyone that hasn't seen that stat, apparently it was hit at 116 kilometers an hour. So
What is that in miles per hour, Clates?
yeah, I don't know. I'm a miles per hour kind of guy.
Yeah. Do you drive with
But
kilometers on your clock on your car or
no, but
not?
unfortunately, that was the tweet I saw. There's 5 miles and 8 kilometers, but I'm not smart enough to do that maths live on air.
Um, no, me neither. That sounds like about 70 mile per hour,
That's
I
a
think.
such question.
It's not. Sij isn't that good with his numbers. Morning, boss. If you're listening, get out of bed.
Obrigado.
Yeah, I suppose he wants to come back now, does he? Portugal are out, and he's
Yeah,
giving it
giving
the
it.
big one about he was coming home to Portugal last week. He's gone really quiet now. As such. The goal happens from our perspective um, because of Declan Rice gets caught out,
Yeah,
but gets caught out because he played the position differently last night, and it was noticeable even on the goal. He ended up having a real lean major to the left. We've seen
yeah,
him do that a lot in possession, where he moved the left back commonly, but now left wing back further up the pitch. And because Gay's been very good, but ball progression in terms of getting it up the pitch, I would say is not one of his stronger points. Declan goes into that area and we play from there. But he was doing it without the ball a lot last night as well. I think that's because the Dutch obviously have a real lean to push Denzel Dumfries
yeah,
up that side. And then they move whoever plays on the right, moves into kind of more central slot areas, as has happened here. And obviously Declan gets on the wrong side of it. And then once he hasn't won the ball, because he's to the wrong side of it, you'd want him being the one that comes across into that zone.
yeah.
But because he's had that lean on the left hand side more, he's ended up on the wrong side of it. It's obviously a brilliant finish, which came after felt like first couple of minutes we'd started pretty
I
well.
was
Felt
really
like was
encouraged
moving
with
the
the
ball
start. Yeah.
okay. I don't know if the weather helped the speed of the game last night,
Oh,
but it
massively. Yeah,
but it was nice that the pitch didn't cut up badly as we'd seen in say like Frankfurt, for example, in the past. Pitch coped with it fairly well. Dortmund do need to do something with their roof. I'd probably speak to the people in Manchester who might give them some advice on that or might not. But then I wasn't overly concerned at that point. I don't think it's like it's early. It's like oh shit,
yeah,
but it's early. The one thing I did feel, despite England's real strong performance in the first half, because Declan had that real lean to the left hand side, if there was a turnover, I felt we were really weak ourselves centrally
yeah.
on turnovers where they'd break really quickly. They've obviously got quick players up front. That was the only concern that I felt though. Wasn't really worried about anything else.
Interesting.
Harry got shot away. I thought he was better in the
I
first
thought he
half
was
yesterday,
better.
and
Yeah,
everyone pretty good in the first half. Shout out for Kobe Mino, by the way.
yeah,
Easy to every time you watch your Mal, there's this 19-year-old boy playing really well for England
yeah. You're right. It's
yesterday
easy to
again.
overlook that. Yeah,
Yeah, He's just 19 by a couple of months. I thought it was our best player in the first half last
Yeah,
night. I thought it
we
was
said
brilliant.
this when we were doing like the squad selection thing, where he just plays like he's about 10 years older than he is, isn't he?
Yeah, when we did that, someone tagged us last night.
Yeah, that was nice. I'd forgotten about that.
And tagged me and I tagged you into it. I can't find the bloody tweet now. I'll show you. This is from Nick Wright. Says, I remember today that I watched your England squad video on YouTube back in March. I remember scoffing when Clayton and yourself both said Mino should go in the squad. I was wrong. Excellent foresight, sir. Yeah, there's the review for Planet FPL today. Very much
Like and
covered.
subscribe.
We don't get everything right, just for clarity. But I mean, when we did that pod in March, did I think he would end up here? I thought it was a possibility because clearly finding the right partner for Declan Rice, no one really knew what it was going to be. And by March, it was quite clear it wasn't going to be Calvin Phillips anymore. And let's be honest, Gareth tried two other options before he ended up in this one. I don't think there's any question on Kobe. He's a really interesting player because he's not 6. He's not an 8. I don't have to describe him as box to box. But
Yeah, I know.
I think he progresses really nicely for England. Like he
Yeah.
receives and is on the half turn, he's away and he can carry
It's the way he can
forward.
carry. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, good player. Sunday will be a real test for him. He
Yeah.
got different layers of problems playing in that position, but I'd certainly still play with him. It would
But
be
even
mad
amongst this
harsh to take him
performance,
out.
one thing that I think got overlooked, like that passing for Foden when Foden shot got cleared off the line, that was such a tight pass to make as well.
He's got the
And he
capability.
just threaded it. Yeah, brilliant performance from him.
He's calm as well. I think he doesn't. You can have players like him, and I think they hit the top end and lose a bit of composure. Yeah,
Yeah,
if you're not a regular scorer or something. Look at his finish in the FA Cup final, right? He's
yeah.
composed.
He's got that kind of nonchalant vibe about him, I think.
Yeah,
Like, not in a
but
negative way.
no. But he doesn't give off a vibe that he's not working hard or anything.
Yeah,
Like I think he broke up a
just
number
feels
of
very
dangerous
cool, calm,
attacks.
collected. Yeah.
Yeah, really good performance. I wanted to get that in. The penalty,
Go on. Verdict?
that is never ever a penalty.
Nah, I thought the same. I was genuinely stunned when it was given. Like, kind of like, oh, thank God for that. If that was given against us, I would be fuming.
It is one of them. I would define it. I think people would largely agree with this. It's one of them that if it happens on the halfway line, it's always given.
Yeah.
But the reason it's always given is because it's the easiest thing to do. It's just, oh, give the free kick. Someone's showing a bit of studs and stuff like that. Okay. I'm not sure. Maybe he caught it. Maybe they'd give it. Kane's kicked Dumfries.
Yeah.
Yes, Dumfries has got his studs showing. Harry Kane gets a shot away. The ball clearly moves off his shot before there is a contact. And the reason that is because, yes, Dumfries is going to close in, but I don't think Dumfries follows through.
No.
Dumfries doesn't follow
It's just a
through.
natural
If
action. Yeah.
if Harry Kane gets the shot away and Dumfries comes through and then drops his studs onto Kane's leg somewhere, that's clear that that's Dumfries initiating contact into Kane. Um, the one thing with Harry is he is one clever bastard.
I
He
don't
knows
think he even
it,
did that on purpose, though.
he knows what he's doing.
Do you think?
Yeah,
Because I don't
yeah,
disagree with you. I just, in that moment, I thought it was
yeah.
just,
I think Harry's clever enough and astute enough to know. Yep, this is kind of, I'm going to get my shot away, and I'm gonna
keep my.
I'm going to initiate contact at the same point here as well. Maybe he didn't, but certainly if Kane just shoots, the kind of we spoke about Lamine Yamal's technique and how he kind of just spins things. Yamal doesn't really strike through the
Yeah.
ball.
He like cuts the ball.
Kane
Yeah.
often does with his technique, but my point is, if Kane doesn't strike through, there's no foul there.
Yeah.
Kane just shoots like almost like a cross is coming in and just redirects something. There's never going to be a contact between the two players. Harry Kane kicks Dumfries.
Yeah. Yeah. I was stunned it was given, but, and I'm glad you brought up that foul on the halfway line thing because I feel like that's the argument I've seen doing the rounds. And same as you, I don't agree that because it happens 50 yards away, it's the same thing in the penalty box. I think it's
But
completely
but it's
different.
more that it's always given on the halfway line just because it's the easiest thing to do is just to give it.
Yeah.
Okay, this player definitely kicked the ball. Okay, there's a coming together, so I'll give it to the player that's released the ball, basically. But this one definitely, like I said, if Dumfries really follows through against him, you go, yeah, okay, it's dangerous. I don't think Dumfries does. I think
No.
essentially, like I said, Kane kicks the bottom of Dumfries' foot. I don't know what Dumfries is meant to do differently. It's almost like going back to the handball and like, oh, do you have to put your arms behind your back? What's he meant to do? Not try and block the ball. I don't think there's
You're a John Terry diving
I
header.
don't think there's any element there where Dumfries is trying to hurt or foul Harry Kane. He's
No.
just trying to block the ball, and I don't think he does it like overzealously, like follow through, like the Romero tackle against Enzo Fernandez, for example. There's nothing like that.
No.
Um,
I'll just put it in the redemption bank for the Lampard ghost goal and the Maradona handball. That's what I'm going with.
you're not old enough, mate, but 31 years ago, Ronald Koeman pulling back David Platt
Yeah, I've
in
seen a lot of people talking about that. Yeah.
yeah, in the qualifier in 1993, the most blatant red card that was never given. So yes, listen, we'll claim it.
We'll
My
take
dad's
it.
going, we gonna do? Not have it. I'm like, oh no, fucking obviously. Of course I'm gonna have it, mate. I'm just saying. Obviously, once the referee gets sent out, you know what's coming. He's going to
Yeah.
give the decision because if he's been told by someone in his ear, and watch your young lady on ITV,
Christina
I've
Unkel.
yeah, she's brilliant. Even she was saying it's not a pen.
Yeah.
Dale Johnson of ESPN, who's very clued up in terms of the officiating rules and stuff, was like he could not believe that that was a VAR overturn. It's one of them again. If it was given on the field at the time, because there is a contact, VAR is not going to intervene and say
I
that's
could
not a
understand it a
penalty.
little bit more.
So
Yeah.
clearly there is a layer to say, is it a foul or isn't it a foul? That no one wants that as a penalty, do they? Well, obviously we
Other
did,
than the English, yeah.
and I shouted for it, but no, we don't. It's not a penalty. It's not a penalty.
No,
Maybe the
agree.
performance merited this little bit of luck, but yeah, no one's. I don't know how anyone can think that's a penalty.
No.
It's not.
But it was given, and I know what you were thinking when he goes up. Not a doubt in your mind. When Harry Kane steps up for a penalty, I never fear he's going to miss.
It was. It wasn't until half time that France even entered my head, as in the
In
missed
what
penalty
sense?
against France.
Oh, okay.
It never went through my mind, mate. I
No,
just
me either.
thought, is Harry on it? And Harry will probably do the business.
Yeah,
That's it.
what a penalty.
I think he goes really low because of the weather. So he knows even if he doesn't get his best
Don't
contact, which he
scuff it.
does, it should fly off the turf a bit rather than lifting it. There's a bit more chance of slipping, etc., because of the conditions. So that's where I thought he would go. I thought also the one that did come in my head was the Denmark penalty from the
Yeah.
last Euro
Went
semi
the other
final,
side, didn't he?
where he knows him and Schmeichel had battles on penalties between Tottenham and Leicester previously, and Kane always used to put his favourite side, and Schmeichel would nearly get there. And I think he thought, oh, because Kane, I think, reverts to go to that side in pressure scenarios.
Okay.
So almost like it's the ultimate double bluff. Well, because it's
Mm.
the ultimate pressure one, I'll go my least favourite side. But I didn't think he'd do that last night because I thought there'd been enough, obviously, criticism of his performances and stuff
Yeah.
that he would have felt it in that moment and just reverted to, yeah, this is my favourite pen and go low as well. And
Yeah.
he did.
And even if the keeper goes the right way, which he did, you're not saving them. It's so well hit.
Do you know what the expected goal on target was?
So I don't fully understand that metric. Does that take into account the player's ability
So
or
your XG on a penalty is roughly 0.75. You
0.7 something? Yeah.
get something a little bit less or something a bit more, depending on who you're looking at. But I saw that the expected goal on target, which is basically following the shot, what is the chances of this ending up in the back of the net?
I'm gonna guess it's plus like over 0.9.
Just one. Basically,
How?
basically it's the goal. Yeah.
No, I'm not having that. That's mental.
Basically, you can't save it.
Yeah,
That's what the metric's
Jesus.
saying. So, yeah, brilliant penalty. Um, we had moments after that. The Foden obviously off the line.
Yeah.
We just can't get it out of his feet. It was one of them.
Yeah.
Hit it, mate. Hit it. And then he
He did
manages to
well to.
manipulate it and get the shot away and does well.
I thought he was better yesterday as well, to be fair.
But it was crowded bodies. Dumfries obviously gets back on the line, stops it literally on the line. Yet no one could claim that one either.
No.
Then there was ridiculous shot that he had that hit the post as well,
Yeah. My God.
which was, I think maybe because it was in the same stadium as well, very reminiscent of Arda Güler's goal for Turkey against Georgia. He was on it last night. That was the
Yeah.
Phil Foden we'd been waiting for. But as I said, the change I think had a real negative impact because the Dutch were like, enough,
Yeah.
enough. You're not playing in these zones anymore. And the game felt like it reverted more to types. There was a lot of moaning last night. I'm playing with fear again. Rare, rare, rare. No, it's the opposition's gone. You're not doing that
Yeah.
anymore. You're not doing it anymore. Then frustration creeps in. I could feel a little bit of desperation in some of England's play. Keep saying to my dad, need to be patient here. 60 minutes on the clock, we might have an hour to go here.
Yeah.
And we've got enough quality. We know we've got subs to bring on who can make an impact, etc. But yeah, it was getting to the point where you could feel an uneasiness and it felt like the game might slip away. I think there is a real concern for England on defending set pieces at the moment. Um, I also think that exists for Spain, by the way.
Yeah.
And I would not be surprised if the game finishes 1-0 on Sunday and it's decided by a goal from a corner or a free kick. The split on our defensively on the Van Dijk effort, Pickford does really well to push it away. We basically split into two different teams. It's horrendous.
Yeah.
It's really bad defending. So I'm concerned about that. I think we are missing Harry Maguire's dominance from that perspective. Again, Mark Gay, John Stone's fine in the air. I mean, Harry Maguire goes and dominates those moments quite a lot for England. Changes come, and I think.
What was your reaction when you saw those two subs in Palmer and Watkins?
You knew Palmer would be one.
Yep.
I think the changes again probably happened later than what people wanted, but again, I think one of the negatives of the change of the system, it is harder to make changes within this system. I think
It is,
you
yeah.
start looking and going, who am I taking off here? And all sit there. It's like dads were going to me, oh, get Palmer on a pitch. That's great. Who taking off?
Yeah.
And you get like a silence. Oh, right. Well, the only option here is Phil Foden, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you want to take him off? Okay, fine. He's not had as much impact the second half. That's fine. Okay, get Eze on. For who now? Is it now Jude? I'll come back onto Luke Shaw in a second. I think it's quite important to talk about. But with Watkins, I'm pretty sure everybody thought the same thing.
In terms of why not Tony?
Well, yeah, that's your reaction, isn't it? Because Tony had obviously had quite a good impact for England in the two previous games as a substitute. And I think it was, I mean, hindsight merchant here, but I was listening to Watkins in the press conference last night about 2 o'clock in the morning because my brain was so wired, there was no way I was going to bed.
Same, I couldn't sleep last night.
And he was talking about, I think it was Aaron Ramsdale. He had said to, no, it wasn't Aaron Ramsdale, sorry. He was saying that Cole Palmer had said to him, they were having a conversation, Palmer was going to assist him for a goal.
Yeah, he said he swore on his wife's life. He swore on his kid's life. He said that.
I think it was predetermined that Watkins was coming on the pitch. Just the way he was speaking in that press, I got an air of him of he knew he was going to get on that pitch last night. And come back to discussions we've had earlier this week. Maybe there's something to be said of that in terms of the mental preparation. You're highly likely to get used tonight. And the one thing that didn't like was obviously exactly what's happened on the goal. Can you stretch them and push them back?
Yeah.
Which is what Harry can't do anymore.
Yeah.
In the way, in the same way. As soon as Watkins come on, I felt like England's pressing at the top end was back.
Well, Southgate acknowledged that as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, there's many really good facets of play to Watkins. And I think it was almost like if you bring Tony on, this is very like for Kane, which is fine a lot of the time. Watkins, different profile of player. And to go back to that podcast we did in March.
I remember that's what I was talking about in terms of different profiles there.
And then when we did talking about squads again in May, I made the case to not take Watkins or Tony.
Yeah.
And when that squad was announced, I couldn't believe that he was taking Watkins and Tony. And I'll happily hold my hands up and said, I think this is a waste.
Yeah.
And those two players, Watkins and Tony, have both now had a massive impact for England. And I'm delighted for Ollie Watkins. I think he's a really likable character. I think he's had a great season. When they were talking to him last night about his story of going on loan from Exeter to Western Superman, there's a story in that, and it don't give up, kids. Don't give up on your dreams.
There is 100%.
You and I definitely can, Clayton. But if there's younger viewers, who knows? It was nice, and I felt he took the moment really well. again, when I was watching clips back after the game last night, I think if I'm Ollie Watkins right now, I am blubbing like a baby, mate.
Yeah.
How he is holding this together in this moment,
It's just the adrenaline, wasn't it?
because that goal is he's one of them. He's obviously got himself into a challenge. You think, oh, nice run, Ollie. And Cole Palmer plays a lovely little
Yeah.
pass. It's we know Palmer's got that in his locker.
The first touch was perfect.
But you think then,
What are you gonna do?
exactly. To be honest, it
Yeah.
wasn't like a go on, go on. It wasn't like one
No.
of them moments. It was like go on, Ollie, and it's in.
Yeah.
It was like a flash.
It was
A,
what
a breathtaking finish.
what
What
was that?
a goal.
What's the XG on target on that one? I'd love to know that. I bet. I think
Uh,
Kane's was like
not
almost
as
one. I
not as good as
reckon this was
Kane's.
almost zero.
Wow, it's the only place he can score. He said himself after the game, Watkins, he said it's probably the cleanest I've ever struck a football. It just was
Yeah.
perfect. It's one of them. It
Like a
almost
bow
felt
and arrow.
it felt like a training goal a little bit. And actually, I saw someone put a little montage together of Watkins finishes into far bottom corners this morning,
Okay.
and there are some eerie
He's
similarities.
rehearsed it.
But that last night is the best one.
Yeah. And to do
That's
it in that moment, in that
crazy.
environment, absolutely unbelievable.
I think as well, a lot of players get into those positions and you see it. We talk about how natural it is sometimes for players to like, the weight of the shirt and things like that. The easy thing there is not to take that on.
Yeah.
And actually, there's possibly something where people might even say to him from a coaching perspective, you maybe shouldn't shoot there because your
Yeah. Hold
probability of
it up.
scoring is
Try play
really
someone
low.
else in. Yeah.
He's taking it on. He's taking that mantle there in that moment. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. I think it's so good for the squad as well that you've now had Tony impact in the last 16 game as a substitute in
Yep.
terms of the assist for Kane's goal. In the quarterfinal, who had a big impact as a substitute for us? I'm fucking lost now.
Who was it in the quarters?
Good
No,
luck,
that
mate.
was against Swiss. No,
No, we
that was
just
Slovakia.
no one, no
That was
one.
just Jude last minute.
I'm
And
just I'm just inventing stuff.
oh no,
Oh,
that was it.
Trent's penalty. Sorry, in terms
Yeah,
of big
but then
moment at the end.
Tony did come on and obviously assist with
Sorry,
Kane's
that's what I
header
was
as
looking
well.
for. Was the Trent having the moment at the end? So Tony's had a moment, Trent's had a moment, Ollie Watkins had a moment, all as substitutes, and you can put Cole Palmer
Yep.
in the bracket for the last two games in terms of their moments as a substitute as well. So it's great for the squad. Gets a real buy-in that maybe on Sunday it might just be me. And in that moment, that is magnificent.
Yeah.
Do you know what it was on the clock when he scored?
I seen it. It's 89:59.
Brilliant. And
Unbelievable.
then the board went up 2 minutes. Are you
Yeah.
kidding?
Get everyone off.
Oh my God. I mean, admittedly, it was like 3 minutes before the game restarted or
Yeah.
something. But I think that's the first time a goal's ever been scored pre-90. You think we've won.
Yeah. That was it. I
Two
knew it was done.
minutes.
Yeah. And it's weird because I wasn't even nervous. Like I was stood up. I stopped sitting down, but I didn't really fear that it was. Even when they got into the final third and they were trying to loop across in, I was like, it's done. We're gonna see this out now.
I definitely think there's a problem with um, aerial balls. I mean, I was pretty concerned. If they were getting crosses in, you got Veghorst
I
there.
don't think Spain are the team that are gonna take advantage of that though.
No, but Morata's decent in the air. Don't rule it
Yeah,
out. And obviously, the delivery from Yamal. I
yeah,
mean, watch out for that run that Fabian Ruiz makes, almost like the Xhaka run, I think, from
yeah,
Arsenal from a couple of years ago. That kind of Xhaka getting on the end of a Saka. Yamal to Ruiz is one. That's what I talk about. Kobe Mino's game having to be a bit different, maybe on Sunday. I mean, the caliber of player you're playing against is wildly
yeah.
different. Luke Shaw. So I know there was a lot of unhappiness with Tripps's first half performance last night. And I get that. I think most people have been uncomfortable with it, not because of a mass dislike of Kieran Trippier. It's just we know that's not particularly suitable for him. There were some frustrating moments in the first half where he was getting caught offside or releasing a pass to someone else that was offside. Um, but for me, it was worse with Luke Shaw on the pitch.
Really?
Really was. I think one of the things that, although the Dutch obviously set up differently with an extra man in midfield, the problem for sure, reflect on what I said about Saturday about him looking miles off it fitness wise.
Hmm.
I didn't feel that last night. I think he obviously benefited from the minutes he had on Saturday to then, get 45 last night. but actually Trips really, really pushes up the touchline. You don't feel like anything's going to happen if it comes to him, but it
No,
does stretch people and make space for others.
yeah. And if you look at the people that are near him and then Foden's, Bellingham's, that's what's most important, right?
And Luke Shaw was attacking it from a deeper position constantly. How often was you watching the second half game, right? Luke Shaw's hugging the touchline high and wide for me. It wasn't.
No.
So I think there was an adjustment and it wasn't better for England. It might have looked better in terms of, okay, we're keeping it, etc. But it was less threatening, despite all the problems we've had on the left hand side, despite all the calls which we've all made, myself included, to get Luke Shaw in the team as soon as possible if he's available. Actually, I didn't think it was better.
Interesting.
That said, would I maybe prefer Luke Shaw to play on Sunday? Yeah, probably.
So that's what I was just going to ask because there's two ways you can look at it, right? One is Yamal and obviously him being left-footed, cutting in. Is it going to be more suitable to have a Trippier there who plays who's opposite foot? And then the flip side is exactly that. If you're going forward, and I think Spain will probably have more of the ball than England on Sunday, if we're going to be having to counter and stuff, who do you want going high and wide on the left? Do you want Trippier or Shaw? So two different perspectives, I guess.
You got to think about how you're defending the boy on their right hand side as well, right?
Yeah,
You're thinking, what do I want? Luke Shaw's kind of experience of playing in that zone, or is there a case to say Yamal's at his most dangerous when he comes onto his left foot, and as a natural right footer, Trips might defend it better? Now the chances are across the game they're probably both going to play at different
yeah,
points. Um, but I thought it was important to say I don't think that was better with Luke Shaw last night.
yeah.
Actually,
No, fair point. Don't disagree. To be fair, either.
there was a lot of times, particularly as the game wore on in the second half, you could look at England. I think this has gone back to a back four, and Jude Bellingham's playing on the left here.
Yeah,
There's plenty of times you could think that, and I think England have progressed, obviously training in this system, presumably for over a week now, where that's good. That sometimes you look at it, is it a back three? Is it a back four? That's nice. There's a bit more fluidity.
yeah,
You could see that last night in terms of attacking rotations in the first half, Kane dropping short at better times,
yeah.
Foden just floating all over the place, Kobe Mino driving beyond. There was a lot of good stuff off the ball from England's improving, making them look better offensively. I think we all think Spain will win Sunday, don't we?
My head does. Yeah,
Yeah, and it's okay that your heart doesn't. England have a chance.
of course. Yeah,
Of course they do. I would say, however, there's caveats here. One, if the Dutch had won last night, I think I'd be looking at correct scores of 3 or 4-0 on Sunday.
yeah. Me too.
I don't think that will happen to England, but it's definitely conceivable that England will get smashed on
So for what
Sunday.
it's worth, my score prediction with my
It's 2
head
0.
is 3-1 to Spain.
Now you think we score?
Yeah, I think we'll score. I don't. I think Spain's backline can be tested with the talent we've got. 100%.
I think if you pin me to it now, I'd say probably 2-0 Spain.
Yeah,
The, there'll be facets of the game that are the same, and there'll be facets of the game that are different. You already mentioned one clearly, ball possession. And it's also worth having a little bit of pride as an Englishman. You know, how many times we might keep the ball, keep the ball. I'm watching that first half last night. I think there's no way any England team has ever played against like this against the
I was
Dutch
thinking the
before.
exact same thing. Yeah,
No way.
it was
You know, total
impressive.
football and all that. And we are dominating them. They're playing like us and we're
Yeah,
playing like them. And before anybody throws Euro 96 at my face, I suggest everyone goes back and watches Euro 96 and you'll be surprised because it's not necessarily what you remember.
love to see what this possession was in the first half. It
Us
was
was
six
63%, I think, last night.
63%. It was. You're right, and then it dropped to 54 in the second.
At 63% with creating quality chances as well and having moments in the game. Clearly, that's not going to happen on Sunday. The only way England will end up with 63% ball possession in a half is because Spain are winning and very happy to give up possession, which, by the way, we have seen them do over the last couple of games, but also playing against strong opponents in France, Germany, respectively. One very interesting aspect to the game on Sunday, though, from an England perspective, is I think Spain's positional setup of formation is quite similar to the Dutch.
Yeah,
England at times can create opportunities. I said to Suj yesterday that I thought the key moment in the France-Spain semi-final was when Jesus Navas fouled Adrien Rabiot. Because if Rabiot had got the ball out to Mbappe, there was every chance that game was going 2-0 and might have been done
Yeah.
at that stage. So I think we spoke about using someone like Anthony Gordon in
Mhm.
those right moments, being an outlet for Kane. I would be extremely surprised if that happened. But then if you'd have said to me before the game yesterday, Ollie Watkins is going to win the game for you, I would have also been very, very surprised.
And what did you said 10, 15 minutes ago, every squad member might have its use. There will be a time on Sunday, I'm convinced, where it will be suitable for Gordon.
Point being here is quite clearly Rodri and Ruiz, um, incredible partnership.
Unbelievable.
Uh, they're better than the Dutch midfield partnership without question. But the Dutch fixed their problems last night by changing to a free. I don't know if Spain going to do that. And
No, I don't think they will.
there is another opportunity here, I think, to create overload manipulations on the ball.
It'd be, I don't know. I feel like
But
they
there's
may
more
not switch to a.
fear on turnovers. And some of the Dutch breakaways in the first half, if we let Spain have them, we're in massive, massive trouble.
Yeah. Even though I don't think they'll switch to a free, I do think maybe out of possession, someone like Olmo will just drop in a bit deeper or something.
Yeah, possibly.
And I think where we will have periods of territory, it's not going to be as much as we used to this tournament, I think. So,
I
yeah,
think they're
I'm
attacking
hoping.
Spain's attacking wide players will put more work in than the Dutch players did
Yeah,
last night. By the way, I think that's probably tactical. It's not a criticism of say Cody Gakpo per se. I think a lot of that was try and stay high.
I do think Spain's back line can be tested though. Like,
Yeah, I said this
yeah,
yesterday.
yeah, I
There's a
really,
weakness there. I
there is.
think they've got a similar weakness to what we've got, which is aerial balls coming into the box. I would not be surprised, like I said, and that the game is decided by a header from a corner or something like that. I really wouldn't. And then therefore England have got a chance, haven't they?
Yeah,
I will use the analogy I used to my father last night, and I've used it already on a different podcast over the last week or so. Manchester United thoroughly deserve to beat Liverpool in an FA Cup quarter final this season in a brilliant football match. Nobody give them a prayer against Manchester City in the final. They won that. In between beating two of the three best teams in this country and deserving to do so, they let a 3-goal lead slip to Coventry and were what a toe away from losing in what would have been the biggest shock in FA Cup history, near enough. That's football.
it is football.
That's football.
Anything can happen.
And it's one game. And if Spain play England, probably 7 times out of 10, Spain win the game, I think,
Yeah,
in 90 minutes.
but there's a universe where weird shit happens 3 times out of 10.
And there's a 1 in 10 for a team who have scored a 95th minute equaliser bicycle kick, also scored an 80th minute equaliser and a 90th minute winner in their 3 knockout games so far. There must be credit given to England as well for coming back in those 3 games.
Yeah,
How many games have you watched in this tournament where teams gone in front? You've gone, that's it.
yeah, always found a way to come back.
And different ways, different ways. And we've got substitutes who can make an impact. If I said to you now, 0-0 penalties.
I'd take it.
Yeah, me too, mate.
Like I said, I think it may have been a patron pod, but the amount of work and psychological work this England group has done on penalties, like it's mental to think how confident I am in this group of English penalty takers, given the past of English penalties. So yeah, I would take that.
Lads, bring it home. Good luck. Um, that's it, I think. Me and Clayton are going to talk more England on Patreon later today. For patrons listening, there's a stream going to be available on FPL prices today. Oh,
Woohoo!
God, just go away till next week. But yeah, I'm gonna cover that as well. Ask James stream for everybody tomorrow, 12 p.m. So you've got any questions on England, these FPL price reveals, Euro fantasy? Yes, just go all in on Spain defensively, probably. Stream 12 o'clock UK time tomorrow. Just see me say thanks very much, Clayton. Be nice to each other, everyone. I pressed the button by accident. Cue music, please, man child.